Okay, here's the latest project. This is the 24th, I believe, of September. And it's a nice, cool September day with a blue sky and not a cloud in sight. And here I am in the dark, semi-dark, working on... I've just finished refurbishing my Shopsmith Mark V Model 510. This is the deluxe version. It has the completely extended table with the braces to the outside, some of what you see laying on the Shopsmith itself. And since there wasn't much use of this in the last 2 years, has some tabletop rust, which I did away with and treated with this material right here called Metal Ready by POR 15, and then used one of their enamels over the top of the primer and got a nice smooth rust-free finish that's supposed to bond forever, so shouldn't have a problem with that again. Did the same thing to the sander plate. Then underneath the table there you can also see the joiner. Did the same thing to that. So that takes care of that problem. Then went through the entire machine and cleaned it, lubricated it, and replaced a few items that needed to be replaced, and it's in top working order now. Now the biggest problem I have in this garage, as you can see, I'll pan. I've got a Goldwing bike there. The car sits in the empty space that we're looking at, and this is the third bay. Since I'm a beekeeper, there's a bunch of beekeeping stuff there, and all my tools over here that I use for odds and ends, and my gun reloading equipment and that sort of stuff over there. So I really don't have a lot of room, and one of the things I'd like to do is come up with a storage area underneath the Shopsmith as it sits against the wall, so that I can take like the bandsaw that you see there and the sander and the joiner and put those on that thing, plus the odds and end pieces of the table that I don't use on a regular basis. So this is going to be an ad-lib project with no particular plans. It's going to be made to fit underneath the table, and it's going to be on casters so it can be moved. So I had some leftover casters from a project that looked kind of like these right here. Let's see if you can see them. Okay. Double wheeled. And got some plywood out there in the sun, 3/8, and I'm going to make a frame, and when we get done it'll be 2 to 3 shelves, but definitely 2 shelves, and all these things should be able to lay down, and I'm going to make some sort of a cushion over the wood braces that hold the pieces level, and they'll be covered with the material so that they don't scrape the finish of the pieces that are stored on it. I've got some extra carpet. I might just use carpet as the pad, and that'd be simple enough, just tacking it on with a gun. So we're gonna get started here, and as I progress I'll take some pictures. GM Wooster signing off. Okay, so the build has started, and what you have is the bottom shelf here with four corner semi-braces, if you will, which I will mount the casters on, and you can see one there. And there's a center brace, and you're looking at it from the bottom side up, obviously. So if I take this caster off and flip it over, kind of looks like that. Now the question becomes, what piece goes where and how are we going to put it on there? So that's the next step. Okay, this is the 10th of October and a continuation of my Shopsmith model 510 under unit storage. So this is on 4 casters, and it's 56 inches long and 20 inches wide, and has a little 1.5 inch surround on the top, except for one area, as you can see, that kind of keeps the tools from sliding back and forth where need be. And I'm going to put, I think, carpet on it to kind of pad it a little. And I didn't have a good place after I got it all loaded to store the extension tubes for the saw top extension. So if you look down here on the edge, I'll just pull one out so you can see it. They store there, and actually, since it's up off the ground quite a bit, so it's still the 10th of October, and it's probably closer to 4 o'clock in the afternoon now. I broke for lunch and a few other things, but now you can see the storage area is carpeted, and I even carpeted the uprights kind of to cushion against wear and tear on the outside of the tool casings or whatever that leans on it or sits on it. So that's what that looks like. Now I'll load it up with the different items and I'll show you what it looks like. So now that I got the Shopsmith together with its companion storage thing, I went through this machine and I hadn't been using it on a regular basis because I'd been had a couple of surgeries a year or so back, and just now kind of getting over that, and been busy getting it all polished up and waxed and ready to do a final thing, which is my start from scratch alignment. But this was purchased back in the, oh gosh, mid 80s or early 80s, whenever they kind of first came out with the 510 with the table extension system. As you can see, I still have one leaf up there, and the other two leaf are hiding underneath the bandsaw laying on its side there. But everything works like it was brand new. Took it all apart, the internal parts of the headstock here, and gave everything a good buffing and polishing and oiling, and bought a new belt, drive belt, and then did all my calibration on the speed mechanism here. You got to remember that when you use this thing, never turn that dial unless that motor is on, because you're going to strip a lot of things inside. A lot of people don't know that. And there's a cap on the other side that you can remove while the machine is still running and blow it out with your air hose or your air blower that you have for your yard, if you have one, and that'll keep it in good shape as long as you put a couple of drops of like 3-in-1 or high machine oil in those little oiling holes inside there. But makes a big difference when you keep it in shape. Just a little bit of work goes a long ways on this machine. But this machine is in like new condition, and one of these days I'll probably sell it. But for now, probably another 5 to 10 years of use, and then it'll be on the market. As you can see, 3-car garage, and got my snow blower up front for the winter months coming on, and there's all kinds of stuff in there. And my Goldwing Aspen Cade, like new, mint condition, 1996, looked like it came off the showroom floor. I got it covered up, and of course my beehives boxes, and the hives are in the yard, of course, and some on the back deck. And I haven't put my extracting extractor and things away yet, because it may actually take some October goldenrod / aster honey off. But another project that turned out quite well. I think I'm going to put a couple of cabinet holes on the front of that, metal ones, just so I can just bend over, and one on each side, so that I can bend over and just pull it out. It actually, I can show you, it just, if I stick my foot under it like this, it pulls out real easy. It's got some nice casters on it, so I'm happy with that, and they just happened to be laying around, so it didn't cost me anything. But the whole, as you can see, there's actually, in this spot right here, enough room just to put some other things in there. Like I've got a routing, a shaping fence that fits on top of the table saw with a different insert when it's in the vertical position, and that can store there, and a few other odds and ends. I suppose if I walk around here and look up the floor, I can pretty much tell you what I haven't laid in there, but not very much left. There's your insert down here, and this is your surround for your shaper, your kind of a safety fence. Another pusher that fell off, and there's the fence I was talking about for your shaper. And then of course I took my guard off the table saw when I was cleaning it up and working on it. Still have to reinstall that after I give it a good buffing and a good coat of wax. and some oiling here and there. But all in all, a pretty good project. So this is GM Wooster signing off.